Morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie here, and I'd like to just share a few thoughts with you this morning. In The Power of Words by Jeffrey Niven, he stated, "Words we apply to ourselves can affect us deeply." And that really resonated with me because so often I find myself sometimes engaging in negative self talk. And those have consequences. It doesn't help my self image at all when I do that. Words have psychological effects. They have the power to inspire us and motivate, but words also have the power to hurt. And it isn't just words that other people say to us or about us, but it's what we say about ourselves as well. Negative words have stinging power when we pin them on ourselves. Rethinking what we say to ourselves can free us from prisons of our own making. So let's spend time together looking at the power of words in general, and in particular, those words that we apply to ourselves. We think in words, and the words we say silently or aloud have real impact, especially those words that we pin on ourselves. As a child, I remember saying out loud the familiar rhyme, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." This old adage is a reminder that harsh, stinging words from others don't have to upset us. However, far too often, harsh, critical words of others inflict pain and are actually a type of emotional abuse. Jokes also fall into this category for me because some jokes are just not funny at all. They're actually cruel and hurtful. Even more so, it is true that words we utter to ourselves about ourselves can hurt us just as deeply. We definitely can be our harshest critics. The way we see the world is influenced by where we live. Those of us living in warmer climates have fewer words to describe snow and many more words to describe heat than our northern neighbors. Age can also be an influencer in the words we use. Those reared a couple of generations ago tied gender more closely to occupation. Not so long ago, the terms waitress, nurse, fireman, and policeman were linked to a specific gender. It was if you could not dream to be anyone you wanted to be. And that took a lot of courage for people to change their way of thinking. Do not label yourself negatively. This can affect our moods and how we feel about ourselves. If I mess up a recipe or project, I can use it as a life lesson and learning opportunity in order to make changes for a better outcome the next time. Or I can also smack a label of goof up on myself, saying, "What's the use?" and never try again. That label lends itself to not embracing a challenge because my expectations of myself is failure. Attaching labels to oneself can assign us to that prison of our own making I referenced at the beginning. If you don't keep trying and you don't see the possibility of success, and your self talk reinforces that, it's really hard to make progress in what you want to do most dearly. Choose your words carefully. Words can inspire and motivate us to actually move mountains. Um, just think about the little old ant and the old song. Uh, the song was called High Hopes. And that's what we need to maintain for ourselves. High hopes. Let our expectations exceed our grasp and dream our dreams to reach beyond what we right now think we're capable of being. They can also work in the opposite way, though, by setting ourselves up for negative outcomes in the form of self-fulfilling prophecies. Like, well, I knew I couldn't do it. I don't know why I tried anyway. You get the drift. Expecting to fail leads us to underperform. Expecting to succeed leads us to overperform. Overperformance leads to success, and underperformance can lead to failure. Which would you rather have in your life? Adopting a self-questioning style of talking to yourself puts your interpretation on the daily expectations on hold. Uh, you're asking questions about yourself, giving you time to consider the alternative ways of thinking. Instead of making a statement like, I'm a failure, stop, substitute a rational counter thought. Like, I've made mistakes, but it doesn't mean that I'm a failure. I need to figure out what I need to do next to turn the outcome around. I remember a speaker encouraging the audience once in a meeting I was attending to think differently about failure by saying to themselves, failure is not fatal. It is feedback. And I certainly have gotten quite a bit of feedback in my life, but I'm still here. And I think that each day in every way, I succeed a little bit more because I believe if I keep trying, I will figure it out. Whose words do we hear in our head a lot of times anyway? What do you say to yourself when no one else is around to hear you? Do you talk sense to yourself, using your inner voice to prepare the challenges you face in life? Or does your self talk bring you down? And if you do put yourself down, whose voice does it sound like? Whose words might you be parroting? Negative self talk often reflects what we have heard and then internalized from significant figures in our lives, our parents, our aunts and uncles, our teachers, our siblings, our friends. I can remember personally my Aunt Evelyn once saying to my mom when she thought we children were out of earshot, and she meant it kindly. She truly, truly did. Uh, she said to Mom, you know, it's a good thing Barbara Ann is smart because she will never be pretty. And as a small girl, I internalized that for many years. Didn't tell anybody, kept it a secret, but that's how I heard myself because someone who I loved and trusted had said it out loud to someone else I had heard and trusted. The takeaway message is that the put downs and the snarky comments you say under your breath to yourself about yourself cannot occupy your mind unless you give those words permission to live there. After all, it's your mind. We can take a lesson from the playwright Oscar Wilde, who famously said, please don't shoot the piano player. He's doing the best he can. In like fashion, we need to remind ourselves that we are doing our best and not shoot ourselves by using words that add insult to injury. So, today I have a task for you. There is a file on our site here that I'd like you to download and print out. It's called the Personal Positive Vocabulary. And it is a list we're going to be building together during the next many weeks to fill our thoughts with positive words, to try to stop the stinking thinking we do sometimes in our minds. Um, Also, today, jot down any words here in the comments below that you are thinking or saying about yourself during the coming week. Whether they're positive ones or negative ones, just jot them down when they pop into your head and make a comment about it, and whether you think that's a word you want to continue to use to describe yourself, or if it's one that you think that you can toss out and find a better word to describe you in your personal positive vocabulary. Uh, the words we use when talking to ourselves again have great power. Our minds actually listen to and incorporate the words, particularly the negative ones, into its perception. Uh, Research through the last few years est- uh, give estimates showing uh, that a negative word, when compared to a positive one, gets repeated in our heads 10,000 times to one. We just keep hearing it over and over and over again. You know, you hear the positive word, you smile a little and shrug your shoulders and just move on. But that negative word comes back and seems to haunt you sometimes. So let's work on not being a friendly enemy to ourselves. Instead, on this journey we're going to be taking in the next weeks to come, let's be our own best friend in our self-talk. Remember to download the sheet to use to build your personal positive vocabulary, your PPV. I think I'm fine as Frog here, and I'm going to go out and have a great day. I hope you do too. Bye for now.